It's Joe Cioffi on this Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to you. I'm doing Christmas in northern Connecticut, which means I'll be in line to get a little bit of snow tonight. We're going to keep this one a little bit short and sweet, I think. Of course, I always say that, and then it will winds up evolving into an epic. But I wanted to, at the very least, wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Hope everybody is getting to spend time with their families and significant others. Very important that we always take the time out, no matter how much we love doing what we like to do. It's always a good thing to take a bit of a break when necessary. You don't want to miss out on the tenets of life, and celebrating holidays is one of those tenets, and I think it's a good thing. So as far as this Christmas is concerned, we are going to have a white Christmas. It's already underway in parts of the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. There's a lot of spots across the northern half of the United States that have snow on the ground, so makes for a very scenic landscape. We have a prime rib getting ready to go in the oven. We've got calamari and lobster tails for later as well, along with all sorts of other goodies. So hope your menu is as good as I think mine is going to be, or ours is going to be, because I'm at my daughter's house. Merry Christmas to everybody. I see you posted, so I will get back to you in just a second. Let's just real quick go through what's going on. And we're going to start with the satellite loop. And here we go. And we're actually going to see the first in a series of storm systems. Each one is going to have a direct impact on the one that follows, because as each storm moves out, there's going to be an attempt to build a ridge in between it and the next system. And the strength of those ridges is extremely important, because if you don't get that ridge to build in between, with the way things are setting up in the atmosphere, systems that are going to want to try to come out from the south would wind up getting suppressed to the southeast rather than moving up the eastern seaboard. So that ridging that goes on in between is going to be key. This first system is now spreading its way across the Ohio Valley. Clouds moving into the east. You can see the cloud cover goes all the way back over into the western Great Lakes. And with regards to what's going on currently with watches and warnings, we'll bring that up for you. And there we go. Put it up right to the top here, and you can see that there's a lot of winter weather advisories up today. We've got also a few areas that are under winter storm warnings. So much of central and northern New England and northeastern New York under a winter storm warning. There's all sorts of winter weather advisories, and we've got lake effect snow warnings up in upstate New York. You can see them here in the greenish, the bluish green. The winter weather advisories extend across northern Ohio, back through the northern half of Indiana and Illinois, southern half of Michigan, the eastern shore of Lake Michigan. Winter storm warnings all along the southeastern shore of Lake Michigan back to about Chicago. A bit of a gap, and then we've got also a slew of winter weather advisories out in the northwest, and some winter storm warnings that are up scattered around western Wyoming, parts of northern Idaho, even a small area in southeastern Washington and in southwestern Washington and northwestern Oregon, seeing some winter weather advisories as well. So a wintry Christmas, it seems, for a good chunk of the nation, where it isn't going to be snowing up in the northern tier. It's going to be very, very cold. Let's real fast run through the GFS today, because let's bring that up to the top now. And I'd be curious, by the way, with everybody, I'd be curious as to what your particular menu is with regards to Christmas. So if you want to include that in the chat, by all means, please do. Okay, so let me interact. Get that U.S. map up so we cover everybody in one swoop. We're going to do a quick run of the upper air as well, and then we'll chat for a little bit. Okay. Sebastian, I hope you get that snow in Boone, North Carolina tonight. So Let's get that. There we go. And thank you to Levi Cowan from Tropical Tidbits for the use of the maps. It's wonderful, and you're very generous, and thank you very much. Here's the first system here, folks. And one of the reasons why the coastal areas won't be getting much in the way of snow out of this is the fact that you've got that northern energy has become much more important here. So that actually brings up a little bit of warmer air right to the immediate coast. But there's a fair amount of snow that occurs just inland of the coast. And there actually might be what's known as a northern trough on the back end that will swing on through tomorrow morning. There might be a burst of heavy snow, short-lived, but there might be a burst of heavy snow west of the low center. So some places that get mostly rain could wind up with a quick burst late tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. A lot of the models are showing this. Now, that pulls out, and we've got very, very cold air coming in to the east. This sets up the first system, and it's going to be close, but it looks like it wants to go out underneath us. And then we have another big cold high that builds in for the weekend. But then it looks like we're going to have another system that's going to try and develop off the East Coast for New Year's Day and move up northeast from there. And then yet another high comes down after that. And who knows, there might be even a third one later next week, but we'll deal with that when we get there. So let me just illustrate really fast what the issues are with these storms. And of course, remember that we pointed out back a couple of days ago how absolutely ridiculous it was for the model to have that 2,500-mile warm front and basically burying everybody from Colorado eastward to the East Coast. That sort of thing just doesn't happen. And you also know that those ridiculous snow amounts were just that, ridiculous. And we'll go back to the beginning of the upper air, and I'll just very fast, we'll look at why things are turning out the way they are. So here's the first system that moves on through. That trough lifts on out. The vortex begins to pull to the east. Now, in order for that next wave for later this week to develop, in between the system that's out east of Labrador, and you see that the upper air, the jet stream kind of stretches back into Western Canada, there's actually troughing, this kind of bowl look that's in the eastern part of the U.S. There's a very broad trough there. This is where the models made a big error earlier in that it tried to build a ridge in between. And you see that ridge does actually try to pop up, but it doesn't build strong enough so that when that western trough comes down, it really doesn't dig very much. It swings around. Then it deepens as it moves eastward. And then we have the same thing happening again over the weekend. And that sets up the system for New Year's Day. But again, you got to get enough ridging in between these two systems in order for the energy to dig down far enough south and east. And that's the question. It tries on this run to do that. You can see there's a pretty decent trough that swings through for just after New Year's. But you got to get that ridge to build in between sufficiently enough to allow that shortwave to dig down. And then it happens again a third time right here where it's going to try and do that as we go toward the end of week number 2, assuming that the models are correct in their view over the long haul. So that really is what it boils down to. The ridging that goes on in between all these weather systems. If you get stronger ridging, if the models, are not handling that correctly, then you have a chance. But if you don't get that ridge, you're going to have a much flatter look. Either way, it's going to be very cold throughout much of the eastern part of the United States, right up through New Year's and beyond. So at least that part of the equation is set. Delvin, you might have a shot there to get a white Christmas. Certainly just west of Boston, you're going to see some snow out of this later tonight and on Monday. Who's got clam chowder on the menu? Jake has clam chowder. Very good. Yes, David Schwartz. Jewish Christmas, Chinese food and movies. Although my friend is, it's Chinese food and bowling that he does. Matthew Williamson. You might be, if everything's a little flatter, you might get into some snow and ice late this coming week. We'll have to see on that. And MJM Tree Service and Maintenance, absolutely looks like cold air is going to dominate. Merry Christmas to you too, Alvin, David, James, NASCAR, Joseph Miano, Lido, James, Raymond, Mason, Ownage Cube. Christmas Eve going really well, buddy. Nice to see everybody. Jason Schaefer is here. Merry Christmas to you. Javon Johnson. If everything is flatter, there might be some icing issues in South Carolina, but you know what? We're gonna get into this after the Christmas holiday. This is just, like I said, a good way to get a break. And yes, Mason, you'll probably get some snow out of this tonight up in Morris County. Metavinci, Merry Christmas to you too. And David Walsh, Raleigh Voigt, Franklin Taylor, an Arkansas Christmas and a Merry Christmas to you. It's nice to see everybody up here. Joe M., a Merry Christmas. Stop by the Farmington River. They stocked it. You know, it's funny you should say that because when my daughter is, she's right, literally walking distance to one of the local rivers here. I forgot the one that, whatever it is, the one that runs along Route 8. And the water levels look pretty high. And the thought did cross my mind, but I think I'm not going to do it. It's just a little bit too cold. MJM Tree Service is having stuffed shells, lasagna, meatballs, and sausage. Nice. And we're also doing, you know, like I said, traditionally with Italians, we do a seafood Christmas Eve. So we are going to do some shrimp, some calamari, and we've got some cold water lobster tails. Let's see. David Fuller, the inverted trough being any snowed in me in Middletown, New Jersey, or is it further north? Are we talking about the system now, David, or are we talking about the system later this week? You're going to get, northern New Jersey, I think north and west of Route 78, north and west of Route 287. You may wind up with a couple of inches out of this. Metavinci just did a nice drive up the Farmington River in Canton. Gorgeous. Yeah, it really is a pretty day here. I'm down in Thomaston right now. It's a really, really pretty day today. The sun's trying to break through the clouds. I actually had to turn away from the camera shot here away from the window because the light was a little bit too bright. So anyhow, we're going to cut it short here at this point, folks. You got a gist of what the weather problems are, but now it's time for us to just kind of shut it down for a little bit. If you have to look at the weather, you can check on the website, meteorologistjoecioffi.com. Thank you for all of you who have joined us during the year and have subscribed to my YouTube channel. I really, really appreciate it. For those of you who have hit PayPal or the Super Chat, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. And this channel wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for the fact that you folks are all here on a daily basis. And it's really been a very humbling and enjoying experience. So, I'm so glad that you guys are all here. Have a very healthy and Merry Christmas. Safe on your travels. If you have to be driving around in some of the winter weather that's going on, just take it slow and take it easy. There was a lot of icing up here last night that I had to deal with, but managed to get through it without too much difficulty. But it can get a little bit scary. So just kind of take your time if you have to be driving around and all this. Merry Christmas to you all. We will see you tomorrow.